Welcome everybody to That's Good Stuff, the show where we review pop culture's newest releases. And this time we're going to go back. That's right, we're going back for once to a couple of shows we've watched. Usually we watch them and ditch them, but this time we went back and we watched three more episodes of Severance, three more episodes of Solo Leveling, and stuff have been happening on both. On Severance, we got Woe's Hollow, which is episode 4 or 13 if you're counting them all together. This one was directed by Ben Stiller, and it sees our favorite department, the MDR. They get to go on a little bit of a field trip. What do they call it? A outdoor retreat or something like that?
I don't even remember how, because I missed the previously because I was folding my clothes. I don't remember how this came about for the episode.
It very abrupt.
Okay.
We didn't have like any kind of warning for it.
It's like, what is happening?
Yeah, it just they woke up and they were outside in the snow. It's like Jared's dream or something.
Okay. They went to Narnia.
And so they see a double of, so is it Mark, I think, first? And he's like, hey, over there. So they gotta like follow these clues, and it takes them to this place where they can have s'mores and meats of various kinds and just like a bonding experience for the outdoors. But it goes kind of wrong. Hey, Thomas is here. So it goes kind of wrong when Irving, he's very suspicious of Helly R.
Shifty eyes. He's like,
yeah. And Dylan's also kind of suspicious of Mark and Helly because they kind of keep making googly eyes at each other. He's like, stop making those googly eyes. Mr. Milkcheck shows up with what's her name? The girl,
Mrs. Wong.
Oh,
Mrs. Wong, yeah. So he shows up with her, and she's gonna play the theremin for them. It's like, ooh, listen to this.
They're reenacting episodes of Star Trek.
Yeah, they're on a away mission.
Are we on Severance?
Yeah.
We are on Severance. So,
my bad.
Yeah,
Sorry.
so the big chunk of this was Mark and Helly kind of hook up. And then Irving, he runs off into the forest all mad. He like sleeps out there. He falls asleep out there and doesn't die, though. He's okay.
He said he almost died.
Almost died. But in the morning, he wakes up and he sees Helly and he grabs her and he's like, admit what you are. And she's like, what the heck? Start dunking her in water. And Mr. Milkcheck runs and he's like, stop doing that. And then he's like, close down the program or whatever it is they call it. And then it turns out that Helly was actually Helen, the Audi. And so this causes a lot of deal. I don't know if you're like, oh, because we get kind of a Wonder Woman type situation.
That's exactly what I said.
Can I say I don't like the terms innie and outie?
No, I hate them so much.
Just makes you think of belly buttons.
Yeah, and that makes me uncomfortable. I don't like the word belly button at all.
And then it goes to that weird phase where Jackson and Alex were touching belly buttons.
Oh,
and it was
outside of
wrong.
Starbucks.
That was an odd phase, yeah.
That was
They were very enthusiastic about
They
that.
wanted to make a genuine connection.
Yeah.
That was just wrong. Well, what do you guys think of this episode?
I was curious because I didn't see that coming in the slides until they started having the conversation. Did that occur to any of you? The possibility she wasn't her?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when Irving was kind of suspicious, I got kind of suspicious.
Yeah, but until like their conversation, he was like started pointing. He was like, "Oh, that's where he's going with this." I was like, "That's what's going on." Because I thought he just wanted to know. Like, I thought he knew that she was ashamed of being the head person because she had clearly lied beforehand, and he was just trying to get her to admit who she actually was in real life, even though I still thought she was the innie.
I feel like he called her out like I would. I'd be like, gardening at night?
What is
he's
that,
like,
man?
Impossible.
What did you see during your little? I forget what they called it. Your slip.
So, like Irving's suspicions, I thought were about Helly being kind of vague on what she saw. I didn't connect that he was actually suspicious of her being the outie. And so I was like, oh, no, that is a little different. That's kind of interesting. And he put it together as like, that what you said to me was very cruel. And Helly was a lot of things, but she was never cruel. I'm like, wait, what?
I think that was it. Like, I thought it was her as an outie, but I had no idea he suspected her at all. Like, I don't know how he would have picked up on that, besides the whole, like, gardening at night, but...
True. And there was just that one question about what did she see? And she was always, like, kind of vague about it. Didn't want to tell him.
I like this episode, though.
Yeah, it's a good episode. It was the one everyone was talking about.
I do love the opening, though. You're on the ice. I know. We'll get off the ice. How? This way.
It reminded me of Rugrats, that one episode where he's like, just jump, Chucky. And he's like across the cliff, and then he like the mountains will open up and he completely misses.
Well, I did like when Irving was climbing up the rocks. It's like, where'd you come from? The rocks? Oh, where'd you come from? The ice?
We got to talk about the food, man. What was that meat they were eating?
Copious amounts
of various meats.
And then they find that dead thing, and Dylan's like, let's eat it. We're not going to eat that.
That was Irving.
Yeah, Irving wanted to eat it.
Oh, I thought it was
he was getting hangry.
Yeah, Dylan was just like, what?
way to just assume the fat guy was hungry, Joseph.
I could have sworn it was him. And then they get those fancy marshmallows.
They were like
no, they didn't.
Huge marshmallows.
They didn't get them.
Yeah, and they threw them in the fire. I would have been like, I could still get it. But
that's what Jared said. That's what
I was like, they're fine, just go.
Give me a stick.
Still time.
They took forever to burn. Those are the good kinds. I was like, yes, you're just making them better.
I was telling them, like, I would hate to read a book and like climb a mountain at the same time.
I believe the word you said was trek.
I would fall or
like,
die.
Good word.
And then those two, this doing the thing in the tents, don't they notice that there's like Dylan right there? Do they not care?
That's what we said.
I think it excited them, They're kind of like, oh, look at us. We have the power here.
Those company tents were heavily
soundproofed.
Soundproofed, yeah. Couldn't hear a thing.
So thick. Like the marshmallows.
With Mrs. Wong playing theremin so loud, you could hear that.
That's a more questioning thing. Is like they did that with a child around. It's like,
well, they kind of left, I think.
I mean,
Milkshak's like, come,
they were quiet.
Let's get out of here. Where did they go? They just
I don't know.
I don't know. Irving was looking for them.
Did they have like a hatch or something that they
a hatch?
And then they almost got burned because they were way too close to that heater. They were like inches away. I would have been.
I think it's got to be like decorative. There's no way that thing was on.
Ow!
It's like, is your forehead really warm, but your feet really cold? Yes.
Very uncomfortable. Any last things on that episode before we go to the next one? Is Trojan Horse, which is episode 5. Episode 14. So this one kind of deals with the ramifications of that. And Mr. Milkshake, Mr. Milkshake.
You can say milkshake. We know what you're talking about.
He has his first performance review, and it's kind of funny because they're like, you use too much big words. You just you put the paper clips wrong, dude.
Okay. I got chewed out today because I put the paper clips in wrong today. I was just like, this is too weird.
I didn't think there was a wrong way to do it. I mean, I thought. I understand the pleasantness of having the loop in the front and not the single bit. But yeah, for it to be incorrect, I didn't realize that.
I did like how he was like, this is your performance review, and he's like, oh, I hope it doesn't go too long. And he's like, well, it's gonna last till lunch and then probably afterwards, so you should order now.
What do you think he
Here's the
ordered?
lunch menu.
What did Milkshake order?
A milkshake.
Milkshake.
Oh, it's the last thing he would order. Doesn't want to be
He seems
associated.
like I don't know. He seems like a
Like a what, Joseph? Like a
like
what?
a steak and potato. No, I don't know. I
Probably
don't know
like
a
a-
milkshake.
A nice
You remember
chicken
that
Cobb
scene?
salad.
Yeah, he's kind of fancy, right?
I was gonna say like that scene on Santa Claus when they're ordering lunch and everyone's like a salad with dressing on the side.
Maybe some duck. I think he probably ordered some duck. He
Never
seems
had
like a
duck.
fancy guy.
I don't think I have.
Other things that were happening is they had a funeral for Irving's Innie. He's gone, man, and Dylan wasn't having it because he's like, "That's a real man. Our Innies are real people, and we got to have a funeral for them." Mark's kind of like, he just wants to get over with. He's like, "Okay,
Just want to go back to work.
yeah." And Helly's always like asking, "Hey, what happened?" He's like, "I don't want to talk about it."
Can we discuss that watermelon? Because that disturbed me.
Face?
That
Shape
edible
of Irving's
arrangement?
face.
Yeah, that
Very
was
good. I wonder who do you like? How does that application go? You put out, we need a watermelon carved into someone's face for a show. Who's like, I'm the person for this job. I've been training my whole life.
The
It's
edible
Hollywood. They probably have like
people?
somebody. Yeah.
The edible arrangement people.
What if we
yeah.
had one made out of one of us? What part of the face would you eat first?
The hair.
I'm
hair
gonna
was
take a
like-
cheek.
The hair was like the
Yeah, strawberry. Oh.
I don't know. I'd take out the jaw. Look like your mouth is open. Just like a big hole. Boop. She's, oh.
Dylan find the note in this part.
I think at the end of this episode.
Yeah, at the end of
in
it,
that
yeah.
room where
Okay.
the funeral thing was being held.
He said, "Hang in there."
I like how Mrs. Wong. She's like, "I'm gonna bust out the theremin," and Milkshake's like, "No,
Enough of
that'd
that,
bring a
child."
bad memory."
Not today.
It seemed
She's
to
like,
get
"But
the
I had a
woman horny.
performance." What else? Is this the one where Dylan visited his wife? His
No, that was
the
next.
last
Yeah,
one.
that was the
Next
that was
I think
the
I do it on both. Actually, they do
There
it
might be a
like a
clip
first
to it,
time. There's like a first time they do it, and it's just kind of short. But then the second time, it's
Yeah,
It's
you're
kinda-
right. There's a little clip for it.
and he asked about her. Maybe that was even the episode. Well, that couldn't be the episode. I'm getting them all mixed up. What else happened in this episode? There was this weird part where he asked that one girl, Milkshake's like, "Hey, how did those pictures make you feel when you got those
Oh yeah.
like revised PC?" I don't know how you would put it, but so he can identify himself in the, what's his name story, Cure's story. What else have we got? Anything else?
I like the
Is it-
scene at the end of the episode where he's like trying to change and he's like slowly getting the words away and he's like, do better, do, or whatever the heck he was saying.
Oh
I
yeah,
thought that was a really well done scene.
I think that was the next episode actually. Though
Really?
we're blending,
I feel
man.
like it'd be the end of this one because it's like his.
Yeah, I thought
performance
this
Because he
was
kind of
too.
takes a day off. He's like, "Hey, you're in charge.
I'm out.
Yeah, you're in charge, Wong." And
Oh, that's true. He's like, you can sit at your desk.
then it's because they start making love again at this scene, and he's like putting paper clips. So that's the next episode. We're getting too ahead. The end of this one was Mark. Something with his head. Remember, he was doing they're doing that thing where they're trying to reintegrate him.
Oh, this was the plunge the needle into Mark's skull episode, and I did not like that
I thought that was
because it ends with him.
That's the next one.
That is?
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, because this one they're like
That's not
talking
what they
about it, but
left
he
off.
says
It's
I'm
blurring.
done and he throws
Yeah.
it down. That's episode or the second episode we watched.
Nothing happened in episode 2.
Episode two,
just the
Mark was
funeral.
angry and working.
Irving talks to Burr, and
Yeah.
Burt's like,
Oh,
"What are
yeah.
you doing at my house?"
Oh yeah, and he's like, "You want to come over and have some ham?"
"Yeah, with
he's like,
Fields."
That'd be nice. And he's like, bring some wine. We like wine. And he's like,
Expensive
fancy
wine.
wine.
Yeah. And he's hit Fields. Is his husband's name. You got to meet Fields. So they're all gonna have dinner with Fields. Okay, let's go to the third one because we just cannot remember that middle one. Third one's called, or episode 6 is called Attila. It's also episode 15. Dylan tells Mark and Helly that he found a note. So there was like a picture, and for some reason he noticed it, that there was like a note back there.
Well, because Irving's last words were "hang in there,"
Hang in there.
and that's what the poster said. So he's like,
and then it's got like a drawing, right, of the elevator thing that goes down.
And then, like,
so they're like the
I forget what
exports
the words
hall.
said. Words were like directions or something like that.
Yeah, so Milkchick takes time off to address the infractions, like we said, leaving Miss Wong in charge. Mark tells Helly that they did the nasty outside.
told her in the stall. They were just in a stall in the bathroom.
And this upsets her because she's like, wow, she got to experience something I didn't get to experience. So I want to do all the experiences.
And she's like, are you okay with that? And he's just like,
I'm sure.
I guess if I have to.
That's what I was saying. Like this whole time, it's like, man, Mark just like is lucking out on this part. Like, good job, Mark.
And so they make a tent, like in the old days. They made a tent out of chairs and stuff like that.
Old days.
Yeah, like when you're like a
Thomas,
kid.
don't question.
When you're like a kid and you make
No,
a
kids
tent out
didn't
of
do what they did in that tent, Joseph.
But they made tents like that with chairs. You know, when you put the blankets on the chairs, you got a tent. Okay, Gretchen visits Dylan and they kiss.
Well,
Is that cheating?
They might have done something else because it kind of cuts away.
Might have gone
Just saying.
further.
We don't
Same.
know.
They built a tent,
She thinks Audi,
if you know what I mean.
Audi Dylan's a loser.
Because
he is.
Sucks.
Like he wanted to buy a car when they had no money.
So now it's time to go to dinner with Fields. We found out Fields is the guy from Fringe and Lord of the Rings. Looking a little older. And they have some food. And
Still
then
making food look gross, though.
yeah, they discuss something interesting, which is like the religious aspect of Severance. So they like went to this church, and the pastor or minister, I don't know what denomination it was kind of like saying, hey,
I think they're Lutheran, right?
I don't remember what they said.
Yeah. And then they're like, innies have souls, so they can go to heaven. And they're like, okay, Christopher Walken needs that because there's no way he's going to heaven.
Well, the way that Christopher Walken says, like, during my younger days, I was a bit of a scoundrel. I'm just like,
and then he keeps giving that look like,
yeah,
You
like
know
he's like,
what I mean, boy.
like he's proud of it. I'm
he's
just like,
got like this sparkle in the eye, and I'm like, how are you doing that?
especially when he's just like,
He's like, yeah.
well, he even said like, no.
And Fields is like, I just want you guys to be happy. And he drinks a lot of wine.
Well, he's also talking. He's like, I know that you had an erotic relationship,
Entanglement or whatever.
entanglement.
I didn't really
There's-
catch this one. Oh, go ahead. Finish
Well,
your
he's like,
thought.
well, he's just like, there's a more than big chance that the two of you had unprotected sex.
Oh,
I
yeah.
just- and I was just like, okay.
Putting that
That's
out
not
there.
dinner conversation.
I didn't catch this one. Mr. Drummond is that guy who gave him his evaluation. He broke into Irving's apartment.
I didn't
find
catch
out-
that.
Yeah, to find out that Irving has a directory of Lumen employees. I remember him
his
going into
face,
someone's.
but yeah.
Is that what he was looking for
apartment.
when he got back?
I didn't know that was Irving's apartment though.
I didn't either. Also, that guy's a big guy, by the way.
A
Yeah,
large man.
Yeah.
He has Farquaad haircut. Actually, no, he has like the Javier Bardem.
No Country for Old
yeah,
Men.
he has that haircut.
The little
like the-
Debbie's.
The Darth
whoosh
Vader.
going, and then the bowl.
Oh,
sitting
it's
back
like
there.
it's like a Darth Vader helmet. Just like
Mhm.
So
It's a little
we
ad.
got to talk about Mark's visit to the Chinese restaurant that looked kind of good. He was like scarfing stuff down.
True.
It's because
How did
he
he-
was
how did he
getting up.
eat?
He was getting upset about the reintegration. He's like, "Don't poke my head that has a hole in it." So he's like, "I'm hungry. I'm going to eat."
How,
So he goes.
how did he eat though? Because he was just like an inch from the plate, and he couldn't use
That's
the
how I do it,
Work,
man.
man.
chopsticks.
He made it work.
That's how I do it, man.
What do you mean it looked good? He had like 3 bites left of his main dish, and then he had 2 fortune cookies.
I mean, it looked like a cool place. It was like this
Joseph,
narrow
Did
Chinese.
did you want to eat the fortune cookies? Is that why you said it looked good?
I like fortune cookies.
That's
I'm
what
not
I
gonna lie.
Not gonna lie.
What's to like? It's cardboard.
I want to go
It's-
to that restaurant. The cheesier the restaurant looks, or the more divish it is, the better
That
the
was
Chinese.
that was a very old restaurant too.
Yeah. So you know the food was good there, because the older the look in the Chinese restaurant is, the better the food is.
Well, it said it was like founded in what 1923.
Yeah,
Is that what it
something
said?
So there, when he's there, he actually sees Helen, right? And she's like, "Hi, I'm the boss." He's like, "I know you," and they talk, and he kind of flirts with her a little, and then she's like, I don't remember what the last thing they talk about.
I think he sees his wife, like it flickers before, and she's like, "You all right?" And he gets all weirded out. He's like, "I'm out of here."
Yeah,
He's like,
gets
"I'm
his-
outie."
gets his fortune cookies and leaves, and then he goes back to his house, and he's like, "Let's do this," and she's like eating ice cream, and then they do it, and so yeah, she goes in his brain
Yeah, that's no bueno.
because there's like a chip in there, right?
looks like a satellite.
And she got the plastic gloves on. I like that sound when you hear plastic going
No.
against plastic. You don't like that
I
noise?
don't like that sound.
I do like
Makes
that
me
sound.
cringe.
Really?
It's like when ice cracks inside of itself and it goes.
I
Can't
like
stand
that.
noise.
There's no sound that makes me feel like that. You know, like people
There's
hate
gotta
like
be
There's
chalkboard,
got to be one, Jared.
and then you know how like people don't like when like stuff rubs against.
Fabric.
What about like styrofoam? When styrofoam rubs against, that's
I don't mind
awful.
that.
Oh, I can't stand it. Ugh.
Fabric. When your like
Fabric.
nail goes across fabric, that's terrible.
I don't like the feeling. I don't care about the sound.
Interesting.
Um,
We look up like the top 10 sounds and give them all to Jared and see if any of them bother him. We're all gonna be like,
we should do that for a bonus
Yeah.
stuff.
We're just like cringing, and Jared's like, "Eh."
We should do that for a bonus stuff. See if we can gross out Jared. Like,
Thanks a lot.
You don't like when people eat the mukbang,
The what?
right?
I don't like. Yeah, when the mic is like right here, and then you just hear them.
Oh, just mouth noises are awful in general.
Yeah. I don't know why people like those videos, but they do.
I can't believe there's like ASMR that like people
Dude,
explicitly that. I'm like,
There's certain ASMR that I do enjoy that I find relaxing, and then like it'll catch a feed and those will come up and be like, "Get out of here! I want to ban all of you! You awful!" It's awful.
when I listen to ASMR, I'm just like, why do people like this? I'm like, even when it's pleasant, I'm just like,
Yeah. Like the toy ones, they all sound the same. There's like no toy. Yeah, when they open toys and like,
I don't like
open the
that
packaging
junk.
stuff.
Yeah.
You don't like that?
I listened to the hum of a Starfleet ship as it passes through space.
That's
And you know what
that's
I'm
your
talking
sleep
about.
sound.
Yeah, it's like that one. I'm like, yeah, this does it for me. I like this.
we know what
So
you listen to, and it's disgusting, Thomas.
Wah.
Disgusting.
So this episode ends with his sister, right? His sister comes and she's like, "No, don't get up." And he's like, I have to answer the door. And so he does, and and he falls head first into the ground.
Dude, I don't care what who's knocking at the door. If I just had
Yeah,
something in my
you don't
brain,
get
I
up
wouldn't.
from that.
They'll get it.
They should have strapped him down.
Also, what was Mark drinking, by the way?
What
Oh,
was he
and those
drinking?
little
I didn't
shots in the
like it.
morning.
I don't know.
It
Good.
look like things I don't want to speculate about.
Yeah.
What would he have?
Jared.
There's
It's
little,
even in the opening,
shots
like
of
they have a
weird
little
gunk.
Yeah.
I didn't like it.
That Ben just found the Dorito ice cream.
Oh gosh. Get out of
um,
here, Ben.
All right, so these 3 episodes are pretty good, right? It seems like they're
Mhm.
building to something. Seems like we're gonna get some. Didn't they say how many episodes they wanted this or seasons they wanted this to be? Like 4 or something.
I have no idea on that, but I would keep getting interested in like why they keep acting like Mark is like the chosen one. They're like he's getting so far, or at least assuming they're talking about him. They're like he's
Yeah.
gonna be the one. I'm like, what the heck does all that banana stuff mean?
Well, because like in the beginning of the season, they're like, we have to get them back together, or he's not going to work. So they need him to work for some reason.
It's interesting.
They still don't understand what the work is. So
No one does.
Yeah.
Although the
We'll
weird
talk about
story
that a
about
little
like what was
later.
it, Kier's brother that ended up having a carrot for a
Oh
pinky?
yeah, and they start laughing at the
Yeah.
old chick.
Like that was an interesting story.
no marshmallows for you.
And it was Helen that was laughing at him.
Well,
so that's even funnier.
Ellen in quotes.
Not Helly. Helen.
Oh yeah. I forget this one. They took that's too close.
All right. So yeah, you guys want to say anything else on how it's progressing so far?
And we've got
good.
4 left. That was 6.
10. I think there's 10.
There's 11,
episodes.
I thought. Or am I making that up?
I don't know. I just closed the page, so I can't tell you.
I will reopen it for
That's
you.
why you always leave the page open a little
I-
longer.
I think
Just a little.
they either said it's going to be 4 seasons or they know how it's ending. Like the showrunner knows.
There, I
I'm
feel like
glad-
I've looked at this 10 times. I thought the first time it was 8, the second time it was 11, now it's 10. So don't
I'm
They
glad
keep
they
Changing.
have an ending because okay, unless it's like purposely like done to where they just write it like week by week or whatever. Kind of like Twin Peaks was, where they just kind of like, oh, here's the concept. It's kind of experimental. I just hate it when they just like start something and they never finish it.
Yeah, like Lost. You can
Like,
tell
well,
they
like-
didn't have an ending.
Yeah, well, Lost and I know it's not a mystery series, but you know, like Bones, how it was like a procedural, and then they had like a storyline, but then it's kind of expanded and never really went anywhere. So it's like, what was the point of all this? Weren't we a mystery show? So
Severance is going to be like a shonen. It's going to go on because it's so popular, and he's going to have to think of new ways for Goku to get stronger.
I feel like with who's making it, like Ben Stiller, I don't feel like he sticks on
Yeah,
projects for long.
yeah.
So I feel like it's just like, I want to do this, get it out of my system, and move on to something else. So I'm down for it.
All right,
it
so
does,
let's
it does generally have a good like endpoint with most of his projects. So
move on to Solo Leveling. So episode 4 of season 2 is I Need to Stop Faking. Jin Woo decides to get his rank. Oh yeah, so he goes back to do the hunter license, or but it's
Touches a
it's
big
a lot
ball.
easier than Hunter x Hunter because he's
Yeah.
touch ball. And they're like, "Oh, dude, it doesn't even work, man. It keeps giving an error." And he's like, "That doesn't mean it's not ranked. That means he's super ranked." And they're like, "Oh no!" And then that guy, the guy that sounds like All Might, really wants to get there.
it is all
guy,
mine.
the guy with the bling, he gets there first.
What did you say, Jared? Like a ring for each finger? That's
said-
too much.
I was like,
Yeah.
what a gaudy man. I was like, no wonder he doesn't like you. You're a douche.
Okay, so that the second half is like, I don't know. You guys want to talk about anything in that first half about him getting ranked or anything?
There is some funny background characters. Like we would notice one guy going, yeah.
Yeah.
In the
Some
background,
guy-
facing the hallway.
Some guy in a tank top too. He's just going,
And then, yeah, there are some sad guys. He's like, dang, I really want to be anything other but E rank. And he's like, dude, you got this.
You're fine as long as you're not an E rank. Those guys are stupid.
and Jen was just like,
So Jenwoo gets the great idea that he's gonna go mining for some stuff.
I actually like.
Why is he
he's
doing
trying to
it?
get. He's trying to get money,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but he can't sell his equipment because it'd be suspicious. And so I
Eh.
guess he was going to go mine to have the excuse that he found this in an A rank dungeon rather than having gone in solo.
if I'm not mistaken, it's because they backtrack where they found everything.
Yeah.
And so he has to have a reasonable like place to find
Plausible
stuff.
deniability.
It's
Yeah,
like
'cause-
holes and he like throws the thing.
Exactly.
He's like, I found it in that hole, and they're like, oh, well, we got to dig there because that's where the treasure is, but it's not. It's not where it is.
He lied. That really messed them up, man. They could have found some treasure if he hadn't lied. Yeah, so he's gonna go mining. He finds some mining bros to go mining with, and they're like, "You're an E rank, right?" And he's like, "Yeah." But he's really good at mining, and they can't help but noticing that he's a pretty good miner.
They love him.
They love him.
You get to see.
They
how
really
ripped he
do
is.
like that. They really do like him.
Yes.
Don't we all? They are just
What's
us,
not to
Thomas.
like?
Pretty much, yeah. Especially that bearded guy. He's like, I love him. I'm like, oh, it's me.
I'll pay you 6 times normal wage.
And then the episode ends with him seeing like a big gate, and he's like, I'm gonna go in there.
Yeah.
And then you hear this voice like, what are you doing? And then we go to the next episode. So it's that girl. I don't remember.
That girl went, what are you doing?
Yeah. What are you doing here? She smells people. I guess she's like Biden and she likes to smell people. But she's
I wasn't expecting that. Sorry.
she smells Jinwoo and she's like, ooh, you don't stink.
In fact, you smell good.
He's like, oh, I can't go in this gate while she's here, so he goes back.
I'm not gonna lie. If I was Jin Woo and like a very attractive girl did that to me, I would not have handled it as like, well,
smoothly.
yeah. I'd be like, what?
I think I'd be like, why is she smelling me? What the heck is wrong with
Why
her?
don't I stink?
Because he's got that new Axe spray.
Part of it, I think too, is that Jin Woo's accepted that he's like attractive now. He's like, yeah, no, I'm hot. I don't care though. So
I think he's just like
got
so
time for
focused
that.
on what he is doing that he doesn't
Yeah.
even think about it.
I don't got
oh,
time
he
for
knows he's
that.
hot, dude. He has to know. Because everybody like points it out, like they were like, that does not look like you. Every time they has this like badge or whatever, they're like, what?
Oh, like the chairman when he
Yeah.
sees his before picture and he's like, the man I saw last night did not look like this.
Dude, that chairman was in love with
He was
him.
into
Oh
him.
my!
He's like, be
God.
still my beating heart.
He literally went like, oh.
So this is this episode called "This Is What We're Trained to Do." So they find. Remind me, this is where like this night guy comes and he's like, "Well, any volunteers come with us into the deep parts of the mine?" And everyone's like, "No, man, that's crazy. You guys are like A-break, man. We're just miners." And Jinwoo's like, "Oh, I'll go." And he's like, oh, "Okay."
And they're like, he's too stupid and handsome to know that it's dangerous. He can't go. He's an E rank.
Yeah, his friend like sitting next to him. So, are you crazy?
Well, I will. I posed the question to the guys. I'm like, would you guys do 6 times like normal pay to do something like this? And we went, yeah.
Dangerous. So he gets the world's biggest backpack and he heads with the crew. It's like a knight and a swords guy and a couple mages. It's
Quite
got
a
with
few
like
mages.
a lantern. Yeah, and there's a girl and
There's a fighter too.
yeah, there's a fighter.
That,
I can't remember
That-
what the other mage is.
that one night that goes, "Bah."
Oh yeah, there's like this big armored guy.
That is
And so
the
they-
voice of Hercule from Dragon Ball Z.
Oh, yeah.
Is
So
it
I was
really?
like, is that Hercule? He's like, "Bah, ha, ha." It's like, what the heck?
So they go down there and they find some like red orcs. Did they have a name? I think
They're
they just
high
called them
orcs.
High
High orcs,
orcs.
yeah.
Hot
okay.
orcs.
Well, they also called them red
Hot.
orcs too at one point.
Smoking hot orcs.
Sexy.
Hot
So-
Cheeto orcs.
So they fight them, but they're like, these guys are pretty tough. And they would lose. But Jinwoo has his little cloaking ability. And he's like slashing ankles and stuff. And that really hurts, man. It's a pain in the butt for the orcs. And it kills them all.
I felt bad for the orcs. I'd be like, son of a gun.
Wow, you're doing so well.
But one of the mages notices the one with the glasses. She's like, hey, I can.
The hot one.
You got 2020
Card,
Yeah, I don't know.
with these
remember.
glasses.
card captor Sakura noticed. She was like, that guy was doing things.
I can see with these private eyes.
They're watching you.
So the big knight's like, dude, we should leave because this is scary. And they're like, yeah, we probably can't survive this. So they're like, okay, let's get out of here. But they hit an invisible wall and they can't get out of the
They start
mine.
bleeding from every orifice.
Yeah, the mages.
Okay, they recovered way too quickly for that.
They have a
Like,
healer.
oh no, we're fine. It's like, what?
The healer goes, woo, 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 woo.
You know, in anime, if you get just hit a little, you're like spitting up blood. Remember Ichigo? He was bleeding from the head all the time.
So, and then a big orc comes and they turn around and there's like a whole army of orcs and they're like, I can't understand what they say, but
They were hard to understand.
and that means come meet the big boss. So they do that.
Who we will find out is voiced by Javier Bardem, because when he spoke, I was like,
Sounds just
I
like
don't
him.
know. I don't know what you're saying.
I'm
but
gonna,
you
I'm
sound
gonna
like
look that
man.
up just to make sure it wasn't him.
Like one of the orcs is like, you married into it.
I can't understand any of the orcs. I just don't understand.
Every now and then I could understand the leader, but like the one that was like talking
Oh,
to
dude,
the
he
knight,
was-
I was just like, what?
Does that mean you surrender? Good, we're out of here.
Yeah.
All right. So
That's what I would say, like to the party after, like they said that they're here to surrender, so we're all good.
it's the door.
His name
No. You don't have to like do all that. It's fine. Thank you.
His name is Jay Balvin, Jared. It is not
I don't
Javier
know.
Bardem.
Dang.
Maybe
That's
it's
just
Javier
his-
Bardem.
The
Looks-
J stands for
He
Javier.
looks like that guy.
Oh, okay.
Huh.
That's the man that
That
has
is
done the voice.
not the voice that did not sound like that.
So we get to episode 6. Don't look down on my guys. So they're in that army or that big room with the big orc. And he's like, we're going to kill you all. Then we're going to torture you. And then we're going to bring you back and kill you again.
And then we're all
And they're
gonna
like-
giggle.
And the leader's like, that doesn't sound like fun. And he's like, charge. And everyone's like too scared to charge.
He's
And
like,
he
come
gets
on, guys. And they're like,
And so the orc like throws them up and down and all around.
that was funny.
It's like Loki and Avengers. Bam, bam, bam.
Because they're just
Um,
watching. He's like, doo, 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 doo. And finally, Jin Woo's like, whoa.
Fine, I'll do something.
Yeah, he grabs him. So
Or
Jin-
sorry, Dragon Ball Z abridged. It's like, I'll take this. Yoink.
Yoink.
Jinwoo steps in because he can't hide it anymore.
And he's like,
So-
hey, do you want me to kill all these guys? And he's like, please do.
Yeah,
That
I
would be
need your
helpful.
permission. So then he's got his army, the blue guys, with his cool knight and his big guy.
And his bear.
And his bear.
And that
his-
one guy that he enslaved.
Yeah. And
That
his
poor
mages.
A rank.
He seems happier now than when he was like.
He does. He always has
He
a
does.
smile on his face.
It does. It's true.
Like,
But then I just like, I picture Jinwoo like looking to the other ranks, like, guess what? If you don't do what I say,
If any of you guys die, you're just gonna be with me. So
Yeah.
that's true.
So
Don't worry.
will not be in
his
vain.
army, the armies take on each other. And Jin's like, well, I lose like 2 guys to your guys is every 1 or something like that. So
But
I'll just resurrect your guys. And the big orc's like, that's not fair.
who said anything was fair?
And he's like throwing spells at him and stuff like that. And Jinwoo counters every time. What do you guys have to
Jinru
say
is
about
really like that kid you play with back in the day, and you're like, you cast poison. He's like, no, doesn't work on me.
this? Oh,
Jelly.
he says that, huh? He's like, oh, I'm pretty resistant to curses. You're like, shut up.
Well, I did like when he was
Rat.
just like, it's like I never really cared for the giant things. Like this bigger target. Like, what's the point? So I was like,
He loves stabbing eyeballs, dude. I think every monster he's come across.
What was I going to say? I was going to say something. I forgot. Meanwhile, during the battle, we see the girl. She's like, give me that pickaxe. I'm going to go in there. And he's like, well, she doesn't want the pickaxe at first. She's like, no, I'll just go with my hand. He's like, no, take the pickaxe. She's like, okay, I'll take the pickaxe. And then those guys arrive from the skill or whatever, and they're like
Driving at night with their sunglasses.
yeah. And they're like, we're gonna go down in the dungeon and help, and then they're like, bam, and they hit their faces against the wall, and
They're like, measure it. They love measuring things. They're like, see what it is.
Man, I can't think of what I was gonna say about the battle, Jared. Do you remember anything specific about that battle?
There were some really good fight scenes with the knight and then the orcs.
And the bear sneak attack.
And the bear just goes like, whoa.
They did a team attack. The fire spells that the orc was doing were really cool. Like he would make that circle and then like a dragon's head, and
They make a bunch of them, and they go.
Yeah.
and then he's like, "Well, I got mages," and then they do fire, and it's like,
Oh, it brings up that point again that the monsters in the dungeons kind of see Jin differently because they're like, oh, look at all those humans. Oh, but he looks a little different. He's a monster too, or something. I don't know what's going on there yet.
Because they always talk about like from the moment they like existed, they had that one voice in their head saying, "Kill the humans, kill the humans." And so I don't know.
We had the
I also wanted to say,
visual
those-
glitch
Yeah.
"Oh yeah, that
in
was."
the chair where he's like, his vision goes all weird.
I want to say his generals, his 4 generals, couldn't tell him from the
Didn't do
regular
much
guys.
either.
Yeah,
Didn't
none of
do
them
much.
stood out.
They got.
And in
beat
the
up.
end, he gets the giant orc for his own. He gets to.
And Jared, what was his name?
Oh, dude, Jin Woo with his name. He's
Yeah.
like, oh, he's got a tusk.
Not very creative.
I like how he's like getting all like he's getting his loot, he's getting his ghost, and then they're like, you're like crazy strong. He's like, oh crap, people are watching me.
I got so intense into it, I forgot.
That was I did like that. That just that. Oh crap!
You think for a nerdy, because Jin Woo used to be like this nerdy E rank, you think he'd come up with better names when he was thinking about being a cooler guy, but no. He was dumb as he was
He's like
low ranked.
He's like our mom naming cats. It's like,
Yeah.
it's Brownie.
We're like on our third brownie. All right. Okay, Jared, what happens in episode 7?
No.
Oh, so-
Okay, what do we
7.
guys-
You should hear
I'm
about
just
8.
I'm just hearing about you're naming your cats brownies, and you're like, oh, we have brownies for lunch. I'm like, what?
Who eats
Yeah,
brownies
brownies
for
for
lunch?
Not lunch. Sorry, dessert. Sorry.
So you're on 8?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's happening?
Dude, there's so much I want to say, but
You can't
Don't
say
say
guys are
it?
slow.
How many are in
Don't
this
say it.
season?
Probably 12, like a normal
There
season.
better be 12 because
Normal, Jared?
wasn't there 11 last season?
There was 12 last.
Solo.
Here we go.
I don't know now.
leveling. Season 1 had 13
It only says
episodes.
9
No,
for me.
12, but there was a recap episode. So I think it's
I hate recap episodes.
season
So
2
useless.
only has 9.
See, that's all I
9?
saw.
9.
That would be sad.
Unless they continue to add them.
So far,
IMDb,
they
yeah.
usually add them.
Okay.
Please
Dang.
add them.
Episode 8, Jared, has a 9.6 on IMDb. That is very rare to see on IMDb.
Holy crap.
Dude, guys, I want to say things, but
Can you give
Don't
us a
say
hint?
things.
No,
No.
no hints. I'll punch him in the
try
nuts.
so
Joseph.
hard.
No,
I
punch
don't
him in the
care about
nuts.
spoilers.
Let's talk about the episodes we watched. I want to
Okay.
I want to say because like they're doing everything right in my book for a show like this, for a show that's just about being awesome, and it's hitting that point where it's like we've had the points where he's kicking the bad guys' butts. I'm like, that's cool. I'm loving that, but I need him to have some. I need the audience, and they literally gave him the audience in this episode. It's perfect because it was like we get into the dungeon, and I was like, all these characters look too cool to die. They're all they're all designed. They're not throwaway dudes. So it's like he's got to save him, and because we talked about that last time, where I was like, where's his morality here? Because he's just letting people die left and right without caring. And it's like, is he thinking this is not reality, whatever it is? Hattie, will
And
you
then-
go away?
Enslaving the ones that
And then
do
enslaving
die.
some, yeah. So you're questioning it, and he's like, no, I'm going to save these people. So I was very happy, very very pleased when he caught the guy out of the air, caught him like a snitch, and and then decided to fight. And it was like Jared said, awesome fight. Like the scope when they bring it back out of the dungeon, he's small going across the screen is just so cool and jumping around the big guy and everything. Very, very satisfying. So that's the change, and very much they're doing it at the right time. Like we've had like the fighting bosses and him being a bad A to all of them. It's like being like, what the heck? We're gonna beat you. No, you're not. Now he's like showing off for everyone around him. And we're taking the show into a different arc where now at the very end of this episode, we get the dudes in suits. And they're like, we're not going to talk about any of this. You're not going to talk about any of this. We said there were men and black people. And they take him off. So now like everyone's going to know about this dude and him being bad A now. And I'm very excited to see where he goes.
I like how they're like, we cannot deny he's S rank. So you guys saw that with your own eyes.
Yeah, it's like, you're not dumb, but don't talk about it.
The thing about the morality thing in this episode was cool because she's like, here's my will. Give this to my family.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, we're not going to need that. And
He's
then
like, I'll keep it, but
and then he
Okay,
gives it to her. I was like, oh, that was
was
kind of
nice.
nice of him.
that was
you know?
nice. Yeah.
Okay, so story wise, this anime is kind of like it doesn't like fully get me, but the animation and the designs for pretty much this entire anime just have me going like,
There was some very cool animation in
Because-
that last episode.
when like we finished watching, Jared had to go to the bathroom, and I told Michael, the Crimson Knight is literally the coolest, like one of the coolest designs I've ever seen in my life. And then not a minute later, Jared comes out of the bathroom and goes like, the Crimson Knight is the coolest thing I've ever seen. And I was just like, yeah. But I am interested in the story. Like I said, like the morality part, I'm kind of interested in because they've kind of hinted at him kind of disassociating from the rest of humanity, and we even have like the monsters kind of confirming that he's not fully human anymore. So it's interesting. Then we got the new A ranks coming in, especially the S ranks because of her, and so I'm kind of interested in that. So it's really setting up this world really well. I've been very impressed, even like with the power scaling, because that's the whole thing about, you know, when you're so powerful, you know, what's a threat anymore? It's kind of like the Superman problem, but they always seem to have something where he has a limitation to a fight, or this villain is, even though the villain's like less powerful than him, does have an obstacle. Like with that elf guy. Oh, I really like that fight. That guy technically was more powerful than him, but he found a way around that. I was like, that's kind of cool. He just couldn't brute strength that one. This one was awesome, where he's just like, no, I am more powerful, so I'm just going to literally obliterate you. This was awesome. So,
But what impressive about this little arc, this little 3-episode arc, is it probably doesn't make much difference to the overall show because it's just him mining.
Yeah.
But it was so cool, the fight and everything, so it kept us entertained.
We did learn that he smells good. So
Smells.
That's all
or
we
doesn't
needed.
smell. It's not
no,
like
because she
smells
says, in
good.
fact, he smells good.
Oh, does she say that?
Yeah,
I missed
yeah,
that
she
bit. I missed
does.
that bit. My bad.
She's
she
like,
into him. She into him.
Yeah, because she's like
They're
rolling
all
around
into
bed
him.
just thinking about him.
Sure.
It's like, oh, he smells
I'm into
so
him.
good.
Michael's into him.
she's like, he doesn't smell bad. In fact, he smells kind of good.
Got a stink about him. And I like it.
A natural musk.
All right. Well, sadly, we might be back for the end of it if it is only 3 episodes more, but hopefully not. So, any last words on this one? Do you guys really don't want to hint about the next one?
No. I'm not a
But when you know what
man.
I know, you guys will want it.
You know what I know. Get out of here, Jared.
The opening is still good.
What I've
I-
seen.
I like the opening. It's one of
Yeah,
those ones I
it's
don't
good.
skip.
Michael skips.
Ah,
I only skipped because we watched 3 severances and 3 solo levelings in one sitting. It was like, there's a point at which we need to go to bed.
I do like the ending when it's just like the tapping
Yeah.
on the guitar and it's like, you're like, dang, that's cool. But then you get the Tokyo Ghoul singer and you're like,
And being a bit edgelordy, yeah.
mhm.
All right, tell us what you guys think about both shows. If you have any theories about what's going on in Severance or whatever, and like, subscribe, and notify yourself for even more good stuff to come. And we will catch you next time. Bye.